Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about something that I find really interesting, the 10 most difficult places to live in the world. Living in these places requires some serious survival skills, so I want to share with you some of the most important skills that you would need if you ever found yourself in one of these places. Antarctica. Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth, with temperatures that can drop to -100 degrees Fahrenheit. There are no trees or plants to provide food or shelter. To survive here, you would need to know how to build and maintain a shelter, as well as how to properly dress for the extreme cold. There are a few things you should keep in mind if you ever find yourself in Antarctica. First, you need to make sure you have enough food and water to last for a while. You should also know how to purify water if you have to, and how to properly store your food to prevent it from freezing. You should also know how to start a fire, because you'll need one to stay warm. And finally, you should be aware of the dangers of hypothermia, and how to recognize and treat it. Sahara Desert. The Sahara Desert is one of the hottest places on Earth, with temperatures that can reach up to 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Survival skills here include knowing how to find and purify water, as well as how to navigate the vast desert terrain. To survive in the Sahara, you need to know how to find water. This can be difficult, because water sources in the desert can be hard to come by. You'll need to know how to purify water, too, because the water you find may not be safe to drink. You should also know how to navigate the desert terrain, because it's easy to get lost. You'll need to be able to read a map and use a compass. You should also know how to recognize landmarks, and how to stay on track. Siberia is known for its harsh winters, with temperatures that can drop to -60 degrees Fahrenheit. Survival skills here include knowing how to start a fire and how to properly insulate yourself from the cold. In Siberia, you'll need to know how to start a fire, because you'll need one to stay warm. You should also know how to properly insulate yourself from the cold. This means wearing layers, and making sure you have warm, dry clothes to change into if you get wet. You should also know how to find food in the winter. This can be difficult, because there may not be much food available. You'll need to know how to hunt and fish, and how to prepare your food. Somalia is a war-torn country that has been plagued by violence and poverty for years. Survival skills here include knowing how to defend yourself and how to find food and water in a dangerous and unstable environment. In Somalia, you'll need to know how to defend yourself, because violence is common. You should know how to use a weapon, and how to protect yourself from attacks. You should also know how to find food and water. This can be difficult, because resources are limited. You'll need to know how to find and purify water, and how to find food that is safe to eat. North Korea. North Korea is one of the most isolated and secretive countries in the world. Survival skills here include knowing how to navigate the strict laws and regulations, as well as how to find and prepare food with limited resources. In North Korea, you'll need to know how to navigate the strict laws and regulations. You should know what is allowed and what is not, and how to avoid getting in trouble. You should also be aware of the limited resources in North Korea, especially when it comes to food. You may need to know how to forage for wild plants or hunt for small game in order to supplement your diet. Additionally, you should know how to cook and prepare food with limited resources and equipment. Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world, and climbing it requires serious physical and mental endurance. Surviving here means knowing how to deal with high altitude and extreme weather conditions. If you plan to climb Mount Everest, you should know how to deal with the altitude. The higher you go, the less oxygen there is in the air, which can make it difficult to breathe. You should know how to acclimate to the altitude, and how to recognize and treat altitude sickness. You should also know how to deal with the extreme weather conditions on the mountain. Temperatures can drop to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds can reach speeds of 175 miles per hour. You should know how to properly dress for the weather, and how to protect yourself from frostbite and hypothermia. The Amazon Rainforest. The Amazon Rainforest is one of the most biodiverse places on Earth, but surviving here means knowing how to deal with dangerous animals, limited resources, and the risk of disease. If you find yourself in the Amazon rainforest, you should know how to protect yourself from dangerous animals like snakes, spiders, and big cats. You should also know how to find and purify water, and how to find food that is safe to eat. Additionally, you should be aware of the risk of disease in the rainforest. Mosquitoes, ticks, and other insects can carry diseases like malaria, yellow fever, and dengue fever. You should know how to protect yourself from insect bites, and how to recognize and treat the symptoms of these diseases. Yemen is a war-torn country that has been devastated by conflict and poverty. Surviving here means knowing how to find food, water, and shelter in a dangerous and unstable environment. If you find yourself in Yemen, you should know how to find food and water in a limited and dangerous environment. You may need to forage for wild plants, hunt for small game, or find other sources of food. You should also know how to protect yourself from violence and conflict, which is a constant threat in Yemen. You should be aware of your surroundings and avoid areas that are known to be dangerous. The Australian Outback. The Australian Outback is a vast and desolate region that is home to some of the deadliest animals on Earth. Surviving here means knowing how to deal with extreme temperatures, limited resources, and dangerous wildlife. If you find yourself in the Australian Outback, you should know how to protect yourself from dangerous animals like snakes, spiders, and crocodiles. You should also know how to find and purify water, and how to find food that is safe to eat. Additionally, you should be prepared for extreme temperatures, which can fluctuate dramatically between day and night. You should know how to dress for the weather, and how to protect yourself from sunburn and dehydration. The Atacama Desert. The Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth, with some areas receiving no rain for decades. Surviving here means knowing how to find water and shelter in an extremely arid environment. If you find yourself in the Atacama Desert, you should know how to find water, which can be a scarce resource. You should also know how to protect yourself from the sun and extreme temperatures, which can fluctuate dramatically between day and night. So there you have it, folks, the 10 most difficult places to live in the world and the survival skills you need to make it through. From the freezing cold of Siberia to the scorching heat of the Atacama Desert, these places can be challenging, but with the right knowledge and skills, you can survive and even thrive. Of course, this is just a brief overview, and there is much more to learn about surviving in these places. If you're planning a trip to any of these locations, be sure to do your research and seek out expert advice to ensure your safety and success. But for now, I hope this video has been informative and helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. And as always, stay curious, stay adventurous, and stay safe out there. Thank you for watching.